The sun was just beginning to peek through the curtains when I woke up, my head pounding like a drum. I blinked a few times, trying to clear the fog from my mind. Where was I? I looked around the unfamiliar room, my heart racing. The walls were painted a soft lavender, and there were pictures of a beautiful woman with long, flowing hair and sparkling eyes. I felt a strange mix of familiarity and confusion. I swung my legs out of bed and stood up, my knees wobbling. I needed to figure out what was going on. Walking over to the mirror, I stared at my reflection. I looked like me, but I couldn't remember who I was. Panic started to set in, but I took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. I glanced back at the pictures. The woman in them was stunning, and something about her made my heart ache. I felt like I should know her, but my mind was a blank slate. I needed to find out who she was and why she seemed so important to me. A phone sat on the nightstand, its screen dark. I picked it up and turned it on, and the image that appeared made my breath hitch. The same woman. Smiling, eyes warm, looking at me like I was her whole world. Scrolling through the contacts, I found her name, Emily. My fingers hovered over the screen before I pressed the call button. Hello. Her voice was like music, sweet and gentle. Emily, I said, my voice trembling. I don't know who I am or how I got here. Can you help me? The pause. I could hear her breathing on the other end. Are you okay? She asked, her voice thick with concern. I don't know, I admitted. I woke up and I can't remember anything. I found your number and thought you might know what's going on. I'll be right there, she said, and the line went dead. Minutes later, she arrived, her face pale with worry. She rushed into the room and wrapped her arms around me. Oh my God, she whispered. Are you okay? I hugged her back, feeling a strange sense of comfort in her embrace. I don't know, I said again. I can't remember anything. She pulled back and looked into my eyes. You had an accident, she explained. You hit your head and lost your memory. But don't worry, it'll come back to you. I nodded, trying to take in what she was saying. Who am I? She smiled softly. You're Alex, she said. And you're my husband. The words hit me like a punch in the gut. I was married to this beautiful woman, but I couldn't remember anything about her. I felt a mixture of excitement and fear. I wanted to know her, to remember our life together, but I was also scared of what I might find. Emily took my hand and led me through the house, showing me our favorite spots, the places where we had shared so many memories. She told me stories about our life together, the good times and the bad. I listened, trying to absorb every detail, but it was like hearing a story about someone else. We sat on the couch and she handed me a photo album. Look at these, she said. Maybe they'll help you remember. Flipping through the pages, I saw pictures of us laughing, dancing, holding each other. There was one of us on our wedding day, our faces glowing with happiness. A pang of longing hit my chest. I wanted to remember this woman, to feel the love she clearly had for me. Tell me about us, I said, handing the album back to her. She smiled and began to tell me about our first date, how we met at a coffee shop and talked for hours, how she knew from our first kiss that I was the one. I listened, my heart swelling with emotion. I could see how much she loved me, and I wanted to feel the same way. As the days went by, I started to remember bits and pieces. The way Emily's hair smelled when I buried my face in it. The sound of her laughter. The way her eyes sparkled when she was happy. I found myself falling for her all over again, even though I didn't remember everything. We spent hours talking, getting to know each other again. We flirted and joked, and I found myself drawn to her in a way that felt both new and familiar. Then one evening, while looking for something in the nightstand, I found a letter addressed to Emily. It was signed by a man named Mark. Emily, I can't stop thinking about you. I know you're married, but I can't help how I feel. I love you and I always will. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Emily had been cheating on me. I confronted her, my voice shaking with rage. Is this true? Were you really having an affair? Her eyes filled with tears. I never meant for you to find out, she whispered. I was going to end it. I swear. I couldn't believe her. My world was crashing down. I had just started to remember our life together, and now it was all falling apart. I didn't know if I could ever trust her again. The days that followed were some of the hardest of my life. Torn between my love for Emily and my anger at her betrayal, I didn't know if I could forgive her. But I also knew I couldn't imagine my life without her. She did everything she could to show me how much she loved me. Cooking my favorite meals. Leaving me sweet notes. Talking to me about our future. Slowly, a glimmer of hope returned. One night she took my hand. I know I messed up, she said. But I love you and I want to make this work. I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust again. I looked at her, my heart aching. I knew she was sincere. I knew I loved her. Taking a deep breath, I nodded. Let's try. It wasn't easy, but we worked through it. Counseling, long conversations, rebuilding our trust piece by piece. And somehow we made it. As more memories returned, I realized how much I had taken for granted. I had been so lucky to have Emily, and I wasn't going to let anything come between us again. On our anniversary, I gave her a beautiful necklace. I love you, I said, looking into her eyes. And I'm never letting you go again. She smiled and kissed me, her eyes shining with love. I love you too. Forever and always. As the months passed, our love only grew stronger. We faced challenges and joys together, and I felt like I was truly living for the first time. I had lost my memory, but I had found something even better, a chance to fall in love all over again. Years later, I still remember the day I lost my memory. It was the worst day of my life, but also the best. It gave me a chance to see Emily through new eyes, to fall for her all over again. Our love has only grown stronger, and no matter what happens, I know we'll always be together. Emily is still my dream girl, my forever love, and I'm the luckiest man alive. And even though I became her simp for a while, I wouldn't change a thing. Because in the end, love is worth fighting for, and I wouldn't trade what we have for anything in the world.